Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. This is biology session. You are watching reproduction, the generating system, part 2. So in the class 1 we have discussed about what is reproduction, what is the importance of reproduction, and one activity also we have completed. So in the modes of reproduction, asexual reproduction we are dealing with. The methods of asexual reproduction, there are many, varies in animals as well as in the plants. The common methods of asexual reproduction are binary fission, budding, fragmentation, regeneration, spore formation, and in plants vegetative reproduction is also a kind of asexual reproduction. Okay children, let us continue about the asexual reproduction. Now regeneration. What is actually regeneration? Regeneration is a type of asexual reproduction which involves the regeneration is a kind of asexual reproduction. Many organisms have the ability to give rise to new individual organisms from their body parts. That is, if the individual is somehow cut or broken up into many pieces, then these pieces grow into separate individuals. Okay. So this is similar to fragmentation. Okay, in Spirogyra, that is filamentous algae. Okay, in higher plants, the vegetative propagation may be natural or artificial. Okay, so regeneration is a common observation that if you cut your finger, it heals. That is regeneration. In your garden, you cut the grass. Again, the next week it needs mowing. Mowing means cutting. Okay. The next, each organism can grow or repair itself in some or other way. The new cells grow to replace damaged or lost cells. It is called regeneration. So in our simple sentences, we can define the regeneration as the ability of living organisms or living things to repair themselves or grow lost parts is called regeneration. Okay. What is regeneration? The ability of living things to repair themselves or grow lost parts is called regeneration. Re means again, generate, produce. Okay. So plants, higher plants, vegetative propagation, if you take, it may be of two types, natural or artificial. The natural type of vegetative propagation by leaves, first method. In bryophyllum, so you know this vegetative propagation is an asexual reproduction, method of reproduction in plants where vegetative parts, what are vegetative parts? Root, stem or leaf. Okay, they give rise to new plants. It is called vegetative propagation. No reproductive organs take part in this method of reproduction and therefore no production of seeds. Okay, vegetative propagation by leaves. Some plants like bryophyllum, and another example also you can take, that is begonia, can be propagated by leaves. Okay, so this is the regeneration in planaria. Okay, helminth parasite. So actually free living helminth it is. So it undergo regeneration. If you cut any part, that part develops into new animal. Okay, so here head part develops the remaining part. Here the tail part develops the remaining part. Okay, it is called regeneration. So here natural method of vegetative propagation by leaves, bryophyllum you can take example. Next, in bryophyllum actually the plantlets develop from the margins of the leaves intact leaves, means the leaf in touch with soil, and these plantlets are being detached, develop into the independent plant. Okay, now the vegetative propagation through stems. So a number of plants like potato, ginger, sugarcane, okay, and gladiolus multiply by stems or their modifications. Okay, so here the aerial weak stems, like that is method of propagation mentioned here, that is stem propagation through runners and stolons. Runners and stolons are the two methods of vegetative propagation which takes place through stems. When they touch the ground, give off the adventitious roots, and when you detach them and keep it separately, it grows into independent plant. When the connection with the parent plant is broken, the stem portion with the adventitious roots develops into an independent plant. Okay. So some examples of this vegetative propagation by stem are from the stolons, bulbs, corms, tuber, okay, etc. For example, stolon example, Vallisneria, a water plant, okay, and strawberry. And the bulbs example, allium cepa or onion, and corms, colocasia, and tuber, potato. Okay, so for example, the potato, it produces flowers, fruits and seeds, but still it never grow from seeds. Potato, if you take example, okay, the potato which you eat is in fact an underground swollen stem, that is called tuber, okay, which contains so you can see potato tuber here, which contains stored food material, especially the part called eyes, EYES. Eyes on the potato tuber sprout or germinate and give rise to new plants. Okay, ginger also, and here stolon. Okay, stolon example, strawberry. This is strawberry. So the part of the stem bend and touch the ground, and it produces the roots. We can cut this portion, and the remaining portion will develop into, after production of fruit, it develop into new individual plants. Okay. So in even ginger, you can call it as rhizome. Okay, that is also the propagation through stem. Propagation through stem, corm, for example, if you take corm. Okay. So vegetative multiplication takes place of saffron and gladiolus. In both these cases, the short swollen underground stem is present, that is called corm, C-O-R-M. Okay, the stored food gives rise to new plant. In strawberry, long stems grow over the soil surface, and they are called runners. Strawberry runners. Okay. Vallisneria, stolon. Now come to roots. If you take roots in sweet potato, dahlia or asparagus, the swollen roots are present, and new plants arise from these swollen roots buried in the soil. The roots of dahlia, radish, carrot, etc. When you cut the uppermost part of the root and place it in the soil, it develops into new plant. Okay, these are all the natural methods of propagation by root, stem and leaves. Okay. Now actually these advantages of vegetative propagation, if you take it is very easier and rapid and less expensive method of propagation. The seedless plants can be propagated by this vegetative propagation. The plants produced by this method are identical copies of the parent plant and show no variations. Okay. The plants like banana, sugarcane, sweet potato, rose and jasmine, they do not produce the viable seeds. Such plants can be easily grown by this method of vegetative propagation. Okay. So keeping this in view, let us enter into the artificial methods of vegetative propagation. So because of the advantages offered by the vegetative propagation, humans have used this method for artificial multiplication of useful plants. Okay, for this reason, such multiplication methods are called the artificial methods of vegetative propagation. Some of these methods are as follows: cutting, layering, grafting. These are the three methods of not only that, even the tissue micropropagation is also method. One by one, let us discuss. First, when a piece of a parent plant having bud, okay, is cut from the existing plant, so these buds are called vegetative buds. Okay, cutting is buried in soil. Okay, is cut parts having buds grow as an individual plant roots. For example, rose. Okay, so the short lengths of the plant, or which when removed and placed in the soil and leaf plant. Okay, sometimes the stem cuttings has to be to a rooting hormone also. Okay, we have studied in the coordination plants. Okay, so growth hormones. Okay, so in the hormone, when you dip the cut portion, so it stimulates the rooting. Example, rose, coleus, bougainvillea, sugarcane, and cactus are easily propagated by methods. Okay, that's why cuttings is of two types: root stem cuttings and root cuttings. Okay, so far we have discussed about stem cutting, but root cutting means in certain plants like lemon, tamarind. Okay, root cuttings when put in the damp soil give rise to roots and shoots and form new plants. Even tecoma also take. Okay, the vegetative propagation. So here roots and cutting. Okay, this is the stem cutting. Next, layering. A branch of a plant with at least one node is bent towards the and it is covered with moist soil, leaving the tip of the branch exposed above the ground. Okay, this is called layering. So after some time, new roots develop from the branch buried in the soil. The branch is then, after production of roots, okay, it's cut off the parent plant, and the part which has developed roots grows to become a new plant. Okay, the layering is of two types again: ground layering and layering. Okay, whatever may be ground layering or air layering, lower branch of the stem, so that a part of the stem is buried under the soil, it remains above the soil surface. After some time, roots grow from the stem part buried in the soil. Now this new plant can be cut from the parent plant and planted as a new independent plant. So this method is used in the plants like jasmine, strawberry, and bougainvillea. Okay, even a type of layering called air layering. Okay, it is done in plants, so it's very successful. And in horticulture plants propagation, the fruit yielding plants like pomegranate can be propagated by air layering called guti, special method. Okay, so in layering, example nerium. So here it is done like this: a portion of stem is bent and covered with soil, then it produces the roots, then you can cut it. Okay, it is ground layering. Okay, next, So grafting is different from the cutting and layering, because in cutting and layering only one plant is involved, but when it comes to grafting, two plants are in such a way that two stems one and grow as a single plant. Okay, the success of grafting depends upon the formation of new tissue between the two plants belonging to the species. So among the two plants, one which is attached to the soil, it is called as a stalk or root stock, and the cut stem of another plant without roots is called as a scion. Okay, both scion are tied with the help of a twine thread and covered with a polythene cover, okay, such that no air enters inside. Okay, grafting is used to obtain a plant with desirable characters. So this technique is very useful in propagating improved varieties of various flowering, flower yielding and fruit yielding plants. Mango, apple, rose. So this is the grafting. You can see here rootstock and scion. This is the portion, the bud portion which is attached to this. It is called a scion. So in grafting, the desired part is derived to different. The stalk or rootstock, stem portion from the other, it is called as a scion. The scion must be with the desirable character. Okay, it must be advanced character than the rootstock. So scion is the plant which one would create, and so it is grafted onto the stalk. The grafting ends of the stalk and scion are obliquely cut and placed like this, and placed face to face. Okay, then two ends are tied tightly. So after tying it tightly, when it starts growing, producing the new buds or leaves, then we can confirm that the new tissue is formed between the scion and the stalk. Okay, next, if you have two varieties of the fruit yielding trees in your garden, one tree has the characters of giving big sized fruits but less number. The taste of the fruit is pretty good. The other one produce more number of fruits, but they are neither big in size nor tasty. Then what are the factors that you would like? Okay? So you will select the second one as a root stock, and the one tree that has characters of big size and having good taste, that is the scion, which you can select. Okay, so what mode of propagation would help you to produce the plant with selected characters? So grafting. Okay, whether they represent budding or fission or fragmentation, organisms formed are the copies of their parents. Okay, so that is whatever may be the method, sexual or vegetative reproduction. Okay, whether it is a fission or budding or grafting or fragmentation, the organisms formed are the copies of their parents. Okay, is it true or not? Yes. Okay, now another method of the asexual reproduction, spore formation. Generally we may notice whitish threads and blackish powdery like substance on rotten fruits, bread slices and other food material. When you touch it, the blackish powder sticks on your fingers, isn't it? So these are reproductive spores produced by a fungi, or spores are the reproductive units of a fungi. Okay, example, rhizopus. Not only fungi, in plants, okay, like bacteria, ferns, mosses, fungi. The spores is the common method of production of spores is the common method of reproduction. So the formation of spores, speculation. Okay, so these spores are small in size. They have thick walls. The thick walls help in adverse conditions in the environment, like high temperature, scarcity of lack of food. These are all unfavorable conditions. So the spores having the thick wall helps them to protect themselves. Okay, the spores give rise to a new organisms under favorable conditions. Okay, they fall on suitable substrate when all the conditions are favorable. These spores germinate to produce organism. Okay, rhizopus red mold. So it some microscopic reproductive units called spores. When these spores case also called sporangium. The spore case means spore bearing body. It is called a sporangium. When the sporangium is filled with spores, then it bursts. The spores spread into the air and fall on the suitable substratum. So this is the sporangium. Okay, inside the spores are formed. When the sporangium is filled with spores, then the sporangium breaks. It is called dehiscence or breaking. Okay, and the spores are released into the air. They fall on the suitable substratum. Again, they germinate to produce the organism. Okay. Next, continuation. So these airborne spores, when they land on the food or soil under favorable conditions. What are the favorable conditions? High temperature, scarcity of water, lack of food. But favorable conditions, what are the favorable conditions for this? Damp means condition and warm condition. Okay, and the food availability of food. Then they germinate and produce new individuals. More rhizopus, euchre, flowering plants, they reproduce by spore forming. Red mold. Under the microscope it shows and okay, bread mold. So because these spores are present in the air, okay, it will fall on the and it will grow. Okay, hope you understood. Please read the textbook. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.